What if I told you that for decades, we've been fighting a war on the wrong front? That our entire battle against obesity, against diabetes, it's all been aimed at the wrong enemy? Well, we're about to challenge the very foundation of everything you've been taught about health.
Now I know, it's a confronting question, but it's at the very heart of a quiet medical revolution that's happening right now. The problem for millions of us might not be that we have too much fat, but that we have a serious deficit of healthy, functional muscle.
For years, the story's been simple, right? Obesity is the villain. But what if it isn't? What if obesity is just a symptom, a visible sign of a much deeper hidden disease that doesn't start in our fat cells, but in our muscle? This right here, this is a massive paradigm shift. The common belief blames fat. It tells us to shrink ourselves, to become less. But the unseen reality, the one we're going to explore, it points in the total opposite direction. The real root issue isn't having too much fat. It's the failure of our muscle.
A physician actually said those words. He was describing the back muscles of his sickest patients. I mean, just picture that. It's a terrifying image. The core structures that hold up your body just withered away to almost nothing. This isn't just about how you look. It's about a deep internal weakness that just throws the door wide open for disease. So, to really understand this, we need to see muscle in a completely new light. Seriously, forget about biceps and six-packs for a second. Your muscle is your body's secret metabolic weapon. It's this huge, powerful organ that basically dictates how your body manages every bit of energy you consume.
The best way to think about it is this. Your muscles are a giant sponge for blood sugar. After you eat a meal, especially one with carbohydrates, something like 80% of all that sugar is supposed to go straight into your muscles. They are by far the biggest and most important place for your body to safely store that energy. And this isn't just a cool theory. The science is solid. A 2011 study found a really stark connection. For every 10% increase in someone's muscle mass, their insulin resistance, which is basically the gateway to type 2 diabetes, drops by a staggering 11%. More muscle literally makes your body better at handling sugar.
So here's the bottom line. Having healthy muscle gives you a metabolic buffer. It's like a shield. It creates a safe harbor for the carbs you eat, stopping them from running wild and causing damage throughout your system.
But what happens when that muscle sponge is too small, or it's just too unhealthy to do its job? Well, this is where the dominoes start to fall. It kicks off this chain reaction that leads directly to chronic disease.
It's a simple but absolutely devastating sequence of events. You eat. Your muscle and liver, your primary storage tanks, they fill up almost instantly. So your body panics and converts the extra sugar into fat. But pretty soon, even your fat cells can't take any more. And that's when the real trouble starts. The fat begins to spill over, literally infiltrating your organs and even your muscle tissue itself. And this brings us to a super important idea called the personal fat threshold. Every single one of us has a unique limit to how much fat our bodies can store safely. This has nothing to do with how you look in the mirror. It's about the internal breaking point of your body's storage system.
Okay, now check this out because this is a perfect real-world example. Japan has an obesity rate that's 10 times lower than the US. You'd think their diabetes rate would be way lower too, right? Nope, it's only 50% lower. Why? Because many people, even though they look lean, have blown past their personal fat threshold.
And this leads to this incredibly dangerous condition called TOFI, thin outside, fat inside. A person can look totally healthy on the outside, but internally their organs are being suffocated by visceral fat. Why? Because their body has literally run out of safe places to put energy. They've crossed their threshold.
Okay, so if failing muscle's the problem, how do we fight back? How do we build a bigger, better sponge? Well, the answer is actually simpler and way more powerful than you might think. We have to feed our muscles. We have to make protein the priority.
Let's just be clear. This isn't some controversial hot take. It comes from decades of doctors seeing patients day in and day out. This whole fear of protein is a myth. The real danger, the one that doctors see every single day, is not enough protein and the muscle decay that comes with it.
And the science on this, it's just overwhelming. We're not talking about one doctor's opinion. We're talking about a massive meta-analysis, a study of 105 other studies, all looking at the link between how much protein you eat and how much muscle you have. The conclusion was undeniable.
The findings were just crystal clear. The more protein people ate, the more muscle they built or kept. Even a tiny little bit extra helped. And get this, it worked even in people who weren't exercising. And for those of us eating a typical low-protein diet, the benefits were absolutely huge. So what's the magic number? What should you aim for? The evidence points to a really clear, actionable goal, aiming for around 1.6 grams of protein for every kilogram of your body weight each day. That gives your body the raw materials it desperately needs to build and maintain that critical muscle sponge. And all of this, it leads us to a completely new blueprint for health. We have to reframe the entire goal. It was never about just losing weight. It's about building a more resilient, more powerful, more capable body from the inside out. Just look at the difference here. The old goal was all about restriction. Reduce calories, run more, lose weight at all costs. And that often meant losing precious muscle. The new goal is about building. Prioritize protein, lift heavy things, and build the very organ that protects you, your muscle.
So, let this be the one thing you take away from all of this. Stop obsessing over the number on the scale. That number tells you almost nothing about your metabolic health. The true measure of your resilience, of your longevity, of your body's defense against disease is your strength.